I hated I didn't get to watch, but first thing I want to say, man, congrats to Coach Oates and our basketball team. Just so excited for them, and I know how hard they've been working, and just have had a phenomenal season. It's certainly not the end of it, and just really, really happy for them. I know how hard this league is in every sport, and to win a regular season title is, to me, that's bigger than winning a tournament, because you got to be good over an extended period of time. And they certainly had some adversity and some injuries. And, I've used a lot of things that have happened with their team and with their season, with our kids. So just really proud of them and happy for them and excited to see them, finish really strong. But, obviously really long day at the park for us. Really proud of our competitive spirit. You couldn't have two games that were more polar opposite than those two. In the first game, just we looked like we had a bunch of young guys on the field, and what I think is the third inning, that you look up and they score 3 runs and they hit one ground ball that bounced about 6 times and got through the infield, and they get 3 runs off of that. You mix in a couple of walks, and you try to tackle a ground ball, and you drop a fly ball, and they get 1 single and they score 3 runs. And, I'm quite certain that's not going to work in Vietnam in a couple of weeks. But with that being said, we found a way to win a game late, which is very valuable. Then you get to the second game, and exact polar opposite. It felt like an SEC game. I mean, Dylan Smith was awesome. Their starter was awesome. You got 2 guys out there bumping 94, 95 and throwing, 3 pitches for a strike, good secondary pitches for a strike. And we had a couple of small chances we didn't take advantage of. And, luckily Sam Prater got a big knock late to win it. So, a lot of things we got to get better at in a hurry. But just really, really, proud to get a sweep over a good club.
I'll start with the potential bummer first. What can you tell us about TJ?
TJ's dinged up again, really won't know more, until next couple of days. And Prater's pretty dinged up. He's got a little plantar fasciitis he's been battling. Hamner rolled his ankle, was able to stay in the game. But, I'm glad you brought it up. Just really, in baseball, you don't get to show physical toughness very often, and just really proud of Hammy and Prater for what they gave us today. And, they battled. And TJ would have done it too. We're just trying to be smart with him and that hamstring. But, he just took that swing and it locked up on him, and, we just got to be smart.
Right. And I know this is the kind of performance you thought Dylan could give you from when you first got here. What's it taken for him to kind of reach this level where he can be this kind of person for you and at least be that good through preseason to get that third starting role for the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I hate talking about youth so much because I feel like I'm making excuses. But, you take a guy like Dylan who had a lot of natural talent out of high school, and man, it just took him a year to get comfortable, like just being away from home and college, and, just take life, and he's, a very high character. He's a wonderful, sweet young man. But, going off to college is hard. I felt like, he just kind of lost that first year. He didn't pitch a ton. He was just figuring out life, which is very normal when you go to college. And then last year loses a year to COVID. And this is his first year, and that's what I tell all the pro guys. I mean, this dude's just scratching the surface, man. I mean, he's like, in my mind, he's like a redshirt freshman, he really took a huge step when he came back to school this year, just noticeably more mature, and just the way he carries himself and goes about his business, and noticeably more mature. And he's pitched really well all fall and all preseason. I'm not surprised that, you never really can bank on it until they go out and do it. But that stuff we saw today, we've been seeing for a few months, and, even saw signs of it, the year before. So, I'm not promising he's going to go out and throw 6 shutout every time out, but I mean, he's good, man. He's pretty good.
Do you have any inkling as to what it was that clicked with him to kind of change that approach and better maximize his physical talents?
I think that's different for everybody, and the timing's different. Like improvement is not linear, and it can click, or you can make that big jump at any point in time. So, that'd probably be a better question for him. And it's not supposed to be easy. Like you see some of these other, Dylan's old for this team, and like that dude's got just a handful of SEC innings in his life, under his belt. So, and he's like a veteran compared to a lot of the other guys we're running out there. So it's been a good reminder for me of, we've got to find a way at some point in our program to be experienced. You got to have talent too, but at some point we got to have a logjam of older players somehow.
Hamiter was the hero in the first game. I imagine it's good to see him kind of get going after a short hitless run to start the year.
Yeah, I've got a long history with Hammy. I saw him as a freshman in high school when I was an assistant at Auburn and recruited him, and that didn't turn out so good for me at that point. But man, he's just like a hitter. He just hit. They say hitters hit, and he's got a beautiful swing, and he's got hand-eye, and he's just always hit. So he's somebody that we've quietly always been really high on, and I mean, in my mind, I even said this going into the year, and in my mind right now, like if you need somebody in our team to get ahead, like he's one of your top 3 guys. I mean, he's a very good hitter. So, kind of like I said about Rossi the other day, I was more surprised that he got off to a slower start than I am surprised that he's doing well now. And, he still had some solid contact. 3 or 4 games, 10 or 12 at bats is such a small sample size in our sport. So I've never been concerned about him, and I'm not surprised he's doing well.
And my last one, is it still Shamblin and Freeman in the midweeks, the order TBD?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I gotta go drink a Gatorade and take a nap for my mind to function again for a little bit and get with JJ. But yeah, those 2 guys are going to throw midweek for us.
Yeah, just one question, Coach. What does it say about the character of your guys and just the team overall that, seemingly every close game or nearly, there's always someone who comes through, in late inning games. Is that just more of a mindset thing, or is it just a confidence that these guys have that, even if we're down, we're never out?
Yeah, I don't think you can quantify that. And, I said this going into the season that we need to be in tight games. We need to play from behind. And I know it's good for us, and we're finding ways to win. And look, McNeese and Wright State are very competitive clubs. I mean, those guys are going to do really well in their leagues and good chances to be in regionals. And we're finding ways to win. And that's what I talked to the kids after the game about. I was like, hey, here's the positive of game 1. Like, we made a lot of mistakes that, that we got to get cleaned up in a hurry. But sometimes, you just have your B- game, and you just got to find a way to win. And sometimes you're in a game like tonight, we got 2 real guys going at it on the mound, and you got to win 1-0. Sometimes you win 10-8. So I think it does say a lot about our kids. We have a really positive group, really positive environment. I think the players like the coaches. I know I love them, and they all really like each other, and, everybody's tugging in the same direction. So, there's not any finger pointing or blaming or any of that kind of stuff. So I do think it says a lot to the spirit of our group and the culture of our program that we're finding different ways to win, and it's somebody different every time out. And, Sam Prater statistically scuffled the first 5 days, and, we still had some good offensive performances, and Drew Williamson's not going to hit 230 this year. And we're still able to score enough to win 2 games today. So, that's why you need length in your lineup, because a 333 hitter doesn't go 1 for 3 every game. There's ups and downs, within it. And that's why you got to have, several guys that you can kind of count on, because not everybody's going to be going at the same time.
Well, just one more question for you, Coach. What do you think about Peyton Wilson in the leadoff? It seems like every game he sets the tone in one way or another with his bat, whether it be home runs, leadoff hits, get things going. He seems like a catalyst for you guys offensively in a lot of ways. Definitely tonight in back-to-back games. What do you have to say about his recent performances at the plate?
Man, isn't he a fun player to watch? Like,
Yeah.
you just never know what Peyton's going to do in a good way. You know, he can help you win in so many different ways. And, you know, he's so aggressive. Like, he will swing at the first pitch of the game and hit it 400 feet. Like, you can't just lay a meatball in there right out of the gate. And, you know, the opposing teams know that, you know, they got to pitch him careful, and he can miss-hit a ball and get an infield single. He can hit a home run. He can steal a base. He can throw. So he's a really exciting offensive player. And, you know, we just got to close the gap with his defense. You know, I think that's kind of another thing with game one. You know, I've talked about there's such a huge separation with our club of our best offensive lineup versus our best defense. And that obviously showed up in the first game. And, you know, we got to meet somewhere in the middle there. But anyway, back to Peyton Wilson. He is a fabulous player, and his intangibles are every bit as good or better than his physical ability. And he's going to lead off every game in that leadoff spot unless he can't play.